Right, today on 12 Yards Out, happy to be joined by David Raven. David, how are you?
Very well, thank you. You?
Not too bad. It's just another day in furlough. We've been sort of cranking them out this week. We've went from epidemiologist to Xander Diamond to talking about Jeffrey Epstein, and now we're going to talk about Liverpool and Inverness. So I mean, there's never a dull day, I don't think, on this.
Bit of a difference there, isn't it?
No, I mean, some of it's been really weird, isn't it? It's like talking about Jimmy Calderwood one day and then how Trump's been involved in all this crazy scandal. It's like trying to keep my head around it. But no, here to talk about your career today. Obviously, not mentioning any of that. You've done a lot in your career. Played for one of the biggest teams in England, winning some major honours up here in Scotland. You started at Tranmere, I think, as a youth, and then moved to Liverpool.
Yeah, so I think I started training with Tranmere when I was about 8 or 10. It was. You say it was Tranmere, it wasn't really. It was a local group of lads. We all knew each other, and it was a training session a couple of times a week at a local indoor place. That just then progressed and snowballed into the Woodall schoolboy team. Again, it was a similar group of lads. We all knew each other from the Sunday football as well. Played obviously against each other, with each other, and carried on with that Tranmere, and I loved it. Still, I was about 14, and I got to about 14, and things started getting a little bit serious. Then I never really had anything in my mind. I suppose it did, but things just started getting serious. So I was getting phone calls. It was a Sunday night. The phone would be red hot. Obviously, there was no mobiles. It was a house phone, and it was all different scouts ringing up, Liverpool's and Man U's and Blackburn and all these scouts. And do you want to come down and see what we do and come to games and stuff? And it was from then on. It was wow, okay, see what's happening. And then England started coming into it. Then started representing England when I was 15. And so that's when it started really getting serious. And when I got to 14, I had a decision to make. I loved it at Tranmere, but when you've got Liverpool and Everton and Man United and stuff, that you've got to look, you've got to go and see it. And I was very, very close to going to Man City. I went to meet Joe Royle. And when I sat down with him, I had mates who were playing for Man City, and it was obviously not the Man City it is now. So I was looking at it thinking, you know what, that offers a pathway to the first team for me, more than Liverpool does, more than Man United does. And I was near enough done. I'd made my mind up, and it was only on the way home. I couldn't do it, and I just followed my heart. I was a Liverpool fan through and through. So was my dad, and I remember sitting in the car with my dad, and I said, "Yeah, I'm going to go to Liverpool. How can I not? How can I turn that down?" Do you know what I mean? I just couldn't do it, even though my head was telling me Man City. And then I sort of, again, didn't look back. Did not regret that decision one little bit.
No, I mean, obviously. So what have you thought of Liverpool this season then? It's been an alright season.
Oh mate, it's been amazing, hasn't it? Like, just watching them play is just awesome, isn't it? Awesome. I just can't wait for them to finish it off properly now.
I don't know, maybe you can fill me in as a Liverpool fan, right? But see, after waiting, so it looks like you're going to win the league, right? I think it's only a couple of games, right? It's where it comes. Even if this might be out and you might already won the league, to be fair. But I don't know, perhaps it's just me, but having won it in this season, I think this team, it'll obviously not be the main story, obviously, this season with everything that's gone on. But I think the Liverpool team deserves to have it be the main story. I don't know. I just think the limelight perhaps wouldn't be on it as much as it would be in a normal campaign.
Well, if they go through, I think the aim, obviously to win the league. If they go through now winning, I don't know, are they going to win all the rest of their games? Who knows? If they do, then I think Liverpool, people will look back and look at that team and talk about Liverpool rather than the pandemic. You'd hope so, because that's, it's been an amazing season. To the last couple of years, to be fair. I mean, even Man City pipping them to the title last year, that was some title race that hasn't been seen. So, as a Liverpool fan, it's been amazing, but it's been coming. Do you know what I mean? But when this pandemic started, all the Evertonians jumping up and down, thinking it was going to be finished. Do you know what I mean?
Do you remember the last title one?
No, I don't. I was 5, and I always remember my dad saying it was just expected so much that it was almost like when they won it, it was a round of applause that the crowd gave them, you know what I mean? And they were miles and miles ahead of everyone until obviously United started smashing it. So I don't remember now. So I can't wait for them to see it. I can't wait to see them lift it.
Nah, it would just be so, because obviously it's gonna. Are they going to do the trophy lift? Because I seen it's going to look dead odd in it. It's going to be in like an empty Anfield. It's
Oh yeah.
the trophy in front, nobody. Jurgen Klopp's just on the side, just clapping them.
Yeah.
Really, really bizarre set of circumstances.
Yeah, it will be bizarre. Yeah. Klopp, the physio. Yeah, whoever else.
He's another one, Jordan Henderson. I mean, imagine saying to him, there's Jordan Henderson's lifting a league title. I mean, what?
Yeah, I know. Amazing. I mean, the only thing is like, you know, with the social distancing and all that, there's no way on earth I can see Liverpool fans staying away from the city centres and stuff like that. It's just not going to happen. You know what I mean? It's people are marching down for Black Lives Matter. They're going to go crazy when Liverpool win the league in Liverpool. So, you know, that's, you know, hopefully they don't, but I just can't see it.
No. For me, I lived in Southport for a little while. Like, I've seen firsthand just kind of how mental Scousers and kind of wider Merseyside are for Liverpool. And it's kind of like the only thing I can really compare it to up here is Rangers and Celtic. So as you say, there's not a chance that when and if it happens that it's going to be a quiet night in the city centre. They're going to go mental.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It is. It is the same, and that Rangers and Celtic passion. Absolutely the same. Yeah. Are you Rangers or Celtic yourself?
I'm Rangers, man.
Yeah.
The Mullow ball in the background for me sort of gives it away a wee bit. So I just sort of, when people talk about trophies and things like that, I just sort of nod my head and smile. Because I think Mullow's last trophy was 10 years before I was born, and I think I'll probably be waiting a wee while, to be fair.
He's been close though, haven't he? Last few years, Stephen Robinson. What a job he has done there. What an amazing coach he is and a manager.
Oh, I know. Stephen Robinson, to be fair, is probably brought Mullow the closest to a cup since the 91 cup final. But it seems to be, we sort of always get through, like, since we've got to semi-finals and since 91, we always seem to get through that stage. It's when we get to the final, it's always Rangers and it's always Celtic.
Well, that's it, yeah. You've got to beat them, haven't you, to win a cup? That's the thing.
Aye, that's the thing. It's not like some of us can get smaller teams and get to lift the cup. I mean, some of us might get Falkirk or something in the final.
We had to beat the big ones on the way, though. Then we got beat at some point.
Aye, that's the thing. I suppose it's the old cliche in it. You need to beat everybody to
yeah.
But I mean, it's the case of actually beating the big boys, and same down I suppose, because the FA Cup seems to change hands a bit more than it does up here, I think.
Yeah, it seems. But although it has lost its prestige a little bit, hasn't it? And you see what Liverpool done last year. That does baffle me. That I don't understand why clubs don't just go and try and win that. Obviously, Man City do, and did the treble last year, didn't they? And I don't know why Liverpool didn't try and do that. I can't get my head around that, especially when the Premier League looks to be boxed off. So whether he misunderstood what it means to fans or whatever, Jurgen Klopp, I don't know. But I'd have loved to have seen Liverpool win the FA Cup. I was there at the last one, and then the one before that was, I was there the old Wembley when Eric Cantona scored the winner. My dad took me down. I was 10, so they're some of my great memories for watching football. So it does baffle me why they don't give it the respect it deserves sometimes.
I remember even going back to when it was United that withdrew for the FA Cup. It's like, why? I think they went to Brazil, I think it was. They were going to play in the World Club Cup, and it just didn't make any sense to me.
Yeah. I remember
one of the most prestigious club tournaments in football, but let's go and play in some nonsense showpiece, not thing.
Money talks, doesn't it?
That's
I suppose. Yeah.
To be fair, it would be good if money spoke down this neck of the woods, to be fair. I think we'd all quit. It would be decent. Well, we'll go back onto your career. Obviously, getting into Liverpool must have been brilliant. You're surrounded by just massive names everywhere you go, really, on the walls and sort of in person. Yeah,
it's an institution, and it was an amazing education from that point of view, in terms of what's expected out here, the standards that are expected out here, your appearance, you're always representing Liverpool. And as I said, for me, it was more. I did a podcast. In fact, it was LFC TV, and he interviewed me about Steve Highway and the academy and stuff. And I was representing England and Liverpool at one point, like captain in both. And so, like, for my age group, well, there was no one else doing that, and he was the one who said to me, like, you can never switch off on that. You're always representing it, so you can't have your t-shirt untucked. You can't ever sort of look like you're not an England captain, not a Liverpool captain. It was him who drilled that in, and the standards that he set, I've tried to take into my career. And he taught me so much. And I've been back since and watched him coach and realised how good a coach he was, because he used to just break things down to the tiny little bits. And that really did set me up for a career. But I must admit, I'll skip on a bit. When I left Liverpool, it was really difficult at times, because I've been schooled in this great way of playing football. And then I went to join Tranmere and a few other clubs, and I never found that again until we were with John Hughes in Inverness, and he wanted us to play that way. He wanted us to play the Liverpool way, and it felt like to me that I was 18 or 20 again, like coming home. Do you know what I mean? And it was great. It was like a breath of fresh air, and I loved it. So until then, it was just survival and playing and doing the best you can in teams. And I mean, it's a fight down in League One and League Two down there. You know what I mean? It's a fight every single week. It's tough, and people don't realise actually how tough it is to stay in the game. Not only people think you get to 21, you've played a couple of years as a first team player, that's you done. It's not. Lads can drop out at 23, 24, and you're constantly fighting and fighting. Same as every career. You're constantly under threat, I suppose, aren't you? Someone wants to take your place. So that's the way of the world, and especially in football, it's a tough career to choose, and a lot of people don't see it that way, but it is. And a lot of lads are seeing that now, actually, with this pandemic, how they're out of contract, and it doesn't look great for them. So I wouldn't want to be in a football career at the minute now, I must admit. So.
It's definitely precarious. But yeah. I think in terms of like players who even if taking it to the Scottish audience, or if you go from Celtic and then you do drop into sort of League One once you've sort of left there, it's not just obviously the quality might be different, but I think it's the general quality overall. It's not just quality on the pitch, it's the quality of club you're going to, the facilities, different players you're playing with. Like, you almost then need to rebuild who you are as a player a wee bit, just to sort of adapt. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. And you are right. Yeah, I mean, facilities are big, and obviously the players you're surrounded with are huge. But I also think for me, what Celtic and Rangers do up there, and I'd argue probably just the two of them, really. When you walk into the place, you can tell it's an institution. The guy at the door's got a suit on, he opens the door for you, and you walk in, there's pictures all around the walls of like these amazing players and what they've won, and it's an institution. It reminds me of places down in England, such as like Leeds United, for instance. We're in League One. I remember going in when we played Leeds away, Ellen Road. This is a proper football club. This is an institution, you know what I mean? And that's set standards then. And you're a Celtic player, you're a Rangers player. It means so much more than just being a footballer. Do you know what I mean? It means so much more. And a lot of other clubs have been slow on the uptake to that, I think. And I don't realise how important that is, that culture and them values. And for me, if they did that and they realised how important it was, then, you could go up to Inverness, and it's not just an Inverness player. There's certain ethics and values and a sort of an image, I suppose, an identity of it. You could create that in a football club. Because when you're a Celtic player, you've got an identity. When you're a Rangers player, you've definitely got an identity. But other clubs don't seem to have that so much. And if they could create that, I think they'd be stronger. I think it'd make the team stronger. You see all the best clubs in the world, the likes of the All Blacks and all these people, they've got this identity, they've got this culture. And I think building that takes time. It's tough. But Rangers, Celtic have got it in abundance. And it's where, when you play for them, you naturally up your game, up your level, because you are representing so much more than just a football team. So, yeah, you are right. When you step down into these other clubs, it does become a bit of a fight and a scrap sometimes. And as well, 1 year's contracts that are handed out, players change hands so much, especially down in England. And when that happens, you've got that much turnover, you can't create that culture that you're trying to create anyway. So it's a balancing act, I suppose. 6 of one, half a dozen of another, trying to be successful without dishing out 3-year contracts to lads who don't deserve it. And yeah, it's really difficult to manage when it's, you know, League 1 and 2, I suppose.
I think that is very much the case. Like, Celtic and Rangers can hand out 3 and 4 year deals, and bigger teams down south can do that. But when a smaller team like Inverness, it's almost necessity. Like, obviously this situation proves it. Like, a lot of teams have found struggling if they've put faith in players on 2 and 3 year deals, and they're sort of stuck with them. Whereas for the smaller teams, it's almost a business model. We'll put them on 1 year. If they do well, we'll sign them again. If not, we've given them a platform, move on to a bigger test.
Yeah, I mean, well, when we got relegated at Inverness, there was a few lads on longer term contracts, and I wasn't one of them. But in my contract, I had a relegation clause, and I assumed everybody else had that. And a few of the boys didn't have a relegation clause. Now, when the club got relegated, they asked these boys to leave then, or didn't pick them and tried to shun them out that way and treated them really quite badly. Well, that's not their fault. That's just bad, poor management from Inverness, not giving guys a relegation clause. It happens all over the place. You see Sunderland players when they got relegated to League One on £40,000 a week. Now, whose fault is that? It's just bad management, isn't it? It's bad business. Like, why would you do that? Not put a relegation clause in your contract? It doesn't make any sense. And then the player has to pay the price for that then. And I just find that stupid. I mean, so there are ways, I think, of giving guys, 2-year to 3-year deals and not being stuck down. And I think some clubs are just stuck in the dark ages a little bit with that.
Definitely. I mean, you've even seen with Hearts up here's probably the biggest example, and Park at Thistle as well. They've had all the relegation clauses, but Hearts especially, like, there've been a couple of guys there that haven't really played this season, but they've handed like 4-year deals to, and now they're stuck with like.
Just say Stephen Naismith, come on.
I was actually going to say Lloyd Damore, to be fair, because he was the one that stuck in my head. Like, he was like, I don't know if they paid money for him, but he's certainly on decent money there after signing on a 4-year deal from Cardiff, and obviously that's not his fault for taking it.
No.
It's obviously Hearts probably didn't foresee that they were going to go down. It's just like now he probably doesn't want to be in the Championship, and they're probably not wanting to be paying him 4 figures.
Yeah, but you've got to be ready for all scenarios, haven't you? I know, like, this is a pandemic out of nowhere, but Hearts have got to be prepared that they might get relegated. They were bottom of the league for however long they were bottom of the league for, but they've been relegated like in the past few years. So you've got to be prepared for that. And I don't know how the place is run. I've got no idea. And Budge has done brilliantly since she's gone in there. I think she's turned the place right around. But that's just a small example, as you say, of clubs not doing the right thing sometimes.
I mean, you've kind of seen it from both sides, being at Liverpool, where money's essentially no object, really. You've got the best of everything. But then you've also been at clubs like Shrewsbury Town, who are kind of typically a yo-yo club, going up and down between League 1 and League 2. And then also even Inverness, who are not really an established top-flight club. Can you see differences just in the kind of way that clubs do manage themselves, looking longer term between, let's say, like a Shrewsbury, where you know that they're probably not going to go much higher than League 1, but there's always that risk of falling back into League 2?
Yeah. Well, for instance, when we really look at it, most of the clubs I played at, a bit yo-yo clubs, I joined Carlisle in League 1, and as I've joined them, I had to wash my own kit. And that sounds a really small thing to do. But when I come from Liverpool and then take my own kit home and I wash it, and I was doing little things like that, and the standards of the pitch and all that were poor, then that was a massive eye-opener. That was like put hairs on my chest, going there, getting a bit of stick off the fans and stuff. You mentioned Shrewsbury. That was one of the best-run clubs that I've played for. The chairman, Roland Wycherley, he was desperate. I think he still wants to get into the Championship. This might change it now, this pandemic, but their setup and everything, the way they do things was so professional, and the results showed because of it. And then Inverness, again, club with no money and did the best they could with no money. But what it does do, on the flip side of that, what you do generally find is that the camaraderie between the boys is tighter. These small clubs, because they haven't got any money, need to concentrate on what's going to make them stronger, what's going to make them better. And generally, it is the boys like pulling together and being an absolute unit and a gang. That's twice it's happened to me, but first time I was at Carlisle, we had some right good players and we just pulled together. We didn't have a lot. At one point, when the training ground was getting finished, they had these problems flooding the training ground all the time. We were on a local park, like literally on a park training. But we were battering teams on a Saturday. We were top of the league. You know, we were beating like Leeds United at Ellen Road and then going and training on the park on the Monday. So it was.
Xander Diamond was speaking about that as well, wasn't he? Like he was at Northampton when they were in administration, and even though there was so much uncertainty about the club at that time, they were still going out on a Saturday and giving teams a doing in League Two, and they eventually won that. What was it he said? I think they basically went on an unbeaten run between December and May after all it kicked in. And it's like, I think it is a lot of it, especially results, it is just down to the group of boys you've probably got.
100%. And when something like that happens, you generally find that can go one or two ways. And if you've got a group of good lads and they batten down the hatches and they've all got a common goal and they think, well, we can't do anything about this, let's just go down fighting. It generally brings out the best in people, all the worst, as you see, but other clubs have just gone from straight down the Swanee. But if you've got a good group of lads who pull together and all in the trenches together, and that is such a strong thing to have. I often say that it's you're going to win more games than you lose if you've got that 100%. You've got characters and personalities in your team. You're going to win more than you lose, and you can carry the odd player. You can carry the odd 2 or 3 maybe if you're lucky. But if you've got a group of characters and a group of fighters, then you're going to be successful. And if you can coach them, and if there are decent players, then you're going to be successful. And that's what some of the teams we had that I played in were successful because of that. The Inverness team, we were like brothers, we'd like put our lives on the line for each other at times. I don't know why. I don't know what came first, whether it was the group came first or whether it was the results came first. I don't know. But I do know that every team I've been in that's been successful has that. And creating that is the key, definitely.
Just bringing it sort of back to your Liverpool days, obviously it was a good football education. Was there any sort of the bigger players in there that you sort of looked up to and thought that's sort of the type of professional I want to be?
Yeah, I mean, they all were, weren't they? People ask me about Steven Gerrard, what was he like? And the man was a phenomenon. Like, he was unbelievable. However good you think he was better. Like, close up in training. He was an athlete. He was amazing on the ball. His passing range, I just couldn't believe how good the guy was. And he was someone that I just absolutely looked up to all the time. The way he trained, the way he carried himself, everything was just an example. And I'm glad, I'm so pleased that I was able to see him at that stage in his career as well. But he was full of great players. And I had a few appearances there. I made 4 appearances, and at the time, to be honest, I was the next thing to go on. We had Josemi, a guy called Josemi, a Spanish guy, who was up to no. He wasn't any good. He was eating too many pizzas, and his arse was too big. And Steve Finnan, that was it. That was always in front of me. So like Steve Finnan got injured, and at this point, I think I played 1 or 2 games, and the reserve team manager Paco was saying to Rafa Benitez, "He's ready. He's ready. Put him in. He's ready." And I just couldn't quite break that. I just couldn't quite get in there. I was on the bench a few times and stuff, and I knew that he was never going to play me when he put Antonio Nunes on in front of me. We were 3-0 up at Bayer Leverkusen away in the Champions League, and I think Steve Finnan came off that day injured. We were 3-0 up. There was only 15 minutes left, and I thought, I'm on. This is it. And he didn't put me on. He put the right winger who can't even kick the ball on in front of me. And that was it then. I was like, yeah, I'm not going to play here. If he doesn't put me on now, he never will. And that was sort of the start of like me way out of, you know what I mean? And you find your level. And I wasn't good enough to play for Liverpool. I know that I wasn't good enough. You're sort of like, you're surrounded by that many good players. It becomes easier. But you need to be a physical beast, You need to be like technically top draw. And I know I wasn't, so I could accept that. And you do find your level.
Was that something that you could accept at the time, or has that came kind of with years and experience? You just kind of going, now looking back, no, I wasn't going to reach that level where I would be Liverpool's first choice.
If I look back now and that's changed something out of when I was 19, 20, when I came away from the academy, I used to do gym work and stuff all the time. I'd have gone into the gym and got myself into a physical state where if technically wasn't good enough, then physically I'd be a beast. And I was fit. In fact, I was one of the fittest in the club. I could run all day long, but I lacked strength and power, and that's what I should have worked on back then. Physicality, and it might have given me a bit more of an edge. And it was tough to take. I left with a year on my contract because I was in the reserves, and at that point I was 20, and I'm like, if I don't leave now, I'm gonna rot. My mates by this time who'd come through the England youth setup with had played some of them 100 games in the Championship, or other lads that at Liverpool with me were on loan at Southampton and Preston and all these places. So I knew I needed to go. I knew I needed to if I was going to have a career in football. And I remember me speaking with my dad, and he thought it was a bad decision. What are you doing, leaving Liverpool to go to Carlisle for? You must be stupid, you know what I mean? But I knew I had to go. If I stay at Liverpool, Dad, I'll be coming working for you next year. So I looked at the bigger picture, and it was tough to swallow, but I looked at the bigger picture, and it was the best thing I ever did. Best thing I ever did. Because I went and played real football. And as I said to you before, it was a tough learning curve up at Carlisle. It was tough to get accepted by the fans up there. The northern fans are pretty tough to win over. So, but it put hairs on my chest, and it put like a shell on my back as well. So, yeah, it was a good learning curve.
I can imagine. See, when you're talking about like the physicality and stuff of players, right? Obviously, I'm still young enough. Maybe 5 or 6 years ago, I managed to save shots and a goal. But when I was playing youth football, it always seemed to be like, I don't know if it's a Scottish thing, but the bigger boys always got on in front of the weer ones. So even perhaps we had like a wee guy who was quite a good winger, really good technically, but the boy that was behind him was nowhere near as good as him, but he was at least 4 inches taller than him, got ahead of him, because he'd been more built. And I don't know, I feel like there's a few players in the sort of youth systems that sort of get lost because they're not physically great. And even though, yes, that's a big part of the game, I think we lose a lot of players like that just because they're not born with a big set of shoulders. And
yeah, I agree. And I think that's one of the reasons behind the under-23s down England that they wanted to produce, because a lot of the lads are late developers and stuff like that. That was one of the arguments behind that, so you don't lose them players. Because there are late developers. And I agree with that, what you're saying. Now, that's not down. That's down to you need an instant result, isn't it? That's down to like people going like, is he ready now? Is he ready now? Not investing the time and the effort in someone who might be ready in 3 years' time. And that's like again, it's another thing that really annoys me about football, where it's a bit of a closed door. It's a bit of a bubble. And the same regurgitated nonsense gets regurgitated constantly. Now, whether that be coaching, whether it be scouting and stuff like that. And don't get me wrong, it's not every club, but I do find it is a lot. And so some coaches, you'll be getting spouted something from a coach that you would have heard 15, 20, 30 times, and it's nonsense. Or you look at scouts doing the same thing and looking for the same players they were looking for 20 years ago, and the game has changed so much since then. The game's changed vastly in 10 years, never mind 20 years. But have we caught up with it? Do you know what I mean? Has the scouting system caught up with it? Liverpool and all that, and the big clubs now are excelling away, who look, miles and miles ahead of the other clubs they have. I think they are right up with the times. Can we bring everybody else up with the times now? Do you know what I mean? Are we looking at the right players? Are we training right? Things like this. I think that some clubs are stuck a little bit in the past that way. So yeah, it's food for thought, that one. Yeah.
Just back on your career, obviously, you sort of won from looking at the clubs you'd been at before Inverness. It always seemed to sort of be in the north of England that you were sort of based. Why then did you decide to go 5.5 hours up to the Highlands?
North of Scotland, I don't know. Yeah. Oh my God. Everywhere I've gone, I've played in blue and white, been in the north of England. Amazing. Or north of the country, Britain. Why? I got a phone call. I was out of contract. I thought that was it. If I'm perfectly honest, I'd got a bad injury at Carlisle, and it kept me out for nearly 2 years. I was trying to make. I think the most I played was 20 games in a row before I got injured, and I just kept breaking down. A hip arthroscopy I had. So at that point, I'd been doing a plumbing course and things like that, and I'm thinking, wow, this is it. Like I'm finished. And it was in the summer. Me and my wife were down in Shropshire just having a little break, and got a phone call. Terry Butcher in Inverness wants to sign you, and I was like, I had to Google it. Like, who Terry? They're not Terry Butcher, but Inverness. Like, like what league are they in? Like, honestly, that shows my my lack of knowledge. And so yeah, that's all. Basically, it was that. I had no other choice. Literally, I had no other choice, and I went up there and I had to make it work. It was like a last chance thing for me. And even then, it nearly didn't work. Again, I had a tough start. I had a concussion that I was playing with that I should never have carried on playing with it, and that was my own fault. And I suffered in terms of my performances. And it was at Motherwell. Motherwell was a big turning point for me. Motherwell away, and I'd been dropped, and I was like, right, again, like I kept getting pulled off. And Simon King, the centre back, got injured in the warm up. And I stepped back in, and I was like, and I had to make it work. The pressure on me was huge, and actually I was at fault for a goal, but I played well. And from then on, I kept my place and went on from strength to strength. But the first few months that up there in Inverness were really, really tough, and I had to dig deep, like big time, dig deep. So yeah,
I can relate. On you go, James.
And up in Inverness, you worked with some quite prominent defenders. Obviously, you had Terry Butcher, Maurice Malpass, Yogi Hughes, all kind of had top level careers as defenders. Do you think that helped you progress more as a player?
No, actually, no. I thought it would have done, and one of the big pulls was that, but we didn't really do much coaching on that. I think they were great people, and I loved working for them. But coaching wise, I don't think they could get across why they were such good players, and they were brilliant players, and I don't think they were able to get across. Yeah, coaching is that. How do you teach someone why? I did it, but I don't know why I did it. I just did it. You know what I mean? Being able to coach it is different. So Mo and Terry, when again the first few months made it was really, really tough. Mo especially made my life difficult. He was on my case every single day because he could see a player in me, and Terry could see a player in me, and I wasn't producing. And so they were on my case every single day. And Terry Butcher used to pull me into his office like once a week. I was in at least once a week. Pull me in. What's wrong with you? I was like, I don't know. What's up? What can I do? Are you gambling? Are you drinking? What can we do? You know? And I said to him at the end, I was like, Gaffy, do you know what? I said, I'm struggling. I'm homesick. And you just got to leave me alone. I'll get through it. Leave me alone. And he did. He left me alone. He didn't speak to me. Didn't do anything. And within a matter of a few weeks, I turned it around and started to feel confident again. And he was such a good man manager, like that Terry Butcher. I'll never forget that. You know, the way he just I asked him to do something. He did it probably against his better judgment, and it worked. So man management from Terry was absolutely brilliant. But yeah, I thought I would have probably learned more off them in terms of because they were such good players. But I suppose they didn't. Yeah.
Been a few sort of players and managers like that sort of scattered around, not just in Scottish football. The one I always point to is like Gary Neville at Valencia. Obviously, very good in his day, and I don't know if that was just to do with the language barrier and different things, but clearly just wasn't able to put across what he'd achieved in his playing career across to a group of players. You'd like to think players who have played at that level would be able to express it a bit more, but for some it just doesn't seem to happen.
Yeah, that's well, that's it. I mean, a lot of the best coaches in the world haven't been the best players, and a lot of the best coaches, and that's outside football as well. By the way, you know, you look at other sports as well. They've got like an academic and teaching background. They're able to get across information and break things down where lads can understand it. Now, like that again is a.
Are you still there? You seem to have cut off.
You still there?
There we go. Got you now. Because you totally froze just in mid sentence. Got you now. But obviously, is he still there?
It's all.
There we go.
Now, yeah.
I can see you moving about still at least. Zoom's actually been really good, obviously, for this type, hasn't it? It's like
internet connection's not very good here.
Yeah, no worries.
Oh, that's fine. I mean, just speaking on kind of elite players going into coaching, have you been surprised a little bit with how well Steven Gerrard's taken to it? Because obviously, as you say, a lot of players that go into coaching that are maybe at the highest level of frustration that they maybe can't quite put across, like how good or how they done what they done at such a high level.
Yeah, and that must be very, very difficult as a top player to deal with. Have you guys still got me?
Yep.
Yeah, still got you.
Yeah. And I think that must be one of the reasons why, you know, your top players don't necessarily make top managers. Have they got that the patience to understand that other players don't see the game like they see it? I don't know. But for Steven Gerrard, it must be difficult for him to be coaching lads who are not as good as him and have the patience to be able to deal with the fact that, like, how can you not see that pass? How can you not deliver that pass? Look, this is how you do it. You know what I mean? So, but from all accounts, Gerrard is taking he's more of a manager and leaves the coaching to his coaching staff, which again is fine. It's good. I'm desperate for him to do well up there. I really am, and I think he's had a bit of a tough time, you know, and I hope it comes good for him because he's a good guy in that, and I think Rangers are desperate for him to come good as well. But yeah, I watch it all the time, I follow it, and I'm desperate for him to do well. I know Celtic fans won't like to hear that, but it's the truth, though.
I think it's quite interesting just how many guys have come out that were at Liverpool at some point. They've kind of gone on to be good coaches and good pundits, and there's always seems to be that, I don't want to say reliance on guys that are Liverpool fans, but there does always seem to be a core of either Scousers or like born and bred Liverpool fans who come through at Anfield and then going, like, you look at Jamie Carragher, I think he's arguably one of the best pundits on TV. He breaks the game down really, really well. But there's very few guys who come through at a Man City or a United. Or like, you've got Gary Neville, but he's kind of the one that's came through from United that's went on to be able to talk a good game too. I find it quite surprising just how many's come from Liverpool. As I said, you've got Carragher, Gerrard talks a good game, Michael Owen, he's not the best pundit, but he does talk the game quite well tactically.
Yeah, it's a good point, that. Yeah, it's a good point, and maybe it goes back to an education in their careers through the academy and stuff like that, where you learn the game so much. And I'll take it back to Highway, he used to tell us to be a student of the game, like be a student and you learn the game as much as you possibly can, and he drilled that into us. So yeah, it is a really good point that you make. You going further back, like Telly's full of Souness and Hansen and all these guys, isn't it? So yeah, you've got a good point there. Yeah, I don't know what that is and what the answer to that is really.
Sort of going further up north for your time at Inverness, obviously, you were probably there through most of Inverness's golden spell in their sort of short history that they've had. Obviously, I think got in Europe and then the Scottish Cup run. Yeah,
that was special. Like, that was probably the best time of my life, my career. Being up there, I loved the whole sort of feeling of adventure, living in the Highlands. I loved it. You know, it was like I was going down salmon fishing and I loved all that, surrounded by mountains and that. Like, so I bought into that, massively bought into that lifestyle, and I think the lads up there at the time. And again, you just get lucky sometimes where you come together as a group. And if you look now, where a lot of them players have gone on to like brilliant things, just the Shinny lads and Marley Watkins and Ryan Christie. So we had a really good football team, like talent-wise, but we also had a good group, and it was just such an enjoyable time on and off the pitch. And we were battering teams at times, and that Scottish Cup win, topped it all off, playing in Europe again, another amazing experience. And at that point, you think it's going to go on forever. You think this is just brilliant. And to get relegated then was just, I still can't understand it now how that team got relegated. Well, I can. I know why it did. But we should never have been relegated, and the club are paying a big price for that now. And I feel responsible for it still. I still look and I think, could we have done more that year? And so that was tough to take from where we were to where it is now. It's night and day. Yeah.
As like Mull did the same. Obviously, Mull went through that sort of spell of they were finishing second up and getting Europe every year, and then 2014-15 hit and just dropped into the playoffs. Now Mull had to sort of battle back for 3 or 4 years, and it was fairly ropey until Stephen Robinson came in. But it just shows it can sort of go one way for Mull, which is a few hard years, and then eventually get back to where they were, or it can sort of, unfortunately, go sort of the way Inverness has gone. They've had to sort of go down to sort of get back to, I mean, they're doing well now in the Championship, but to sort of push towards where they were.
Yeah, that's it. It's going to be even more difficult for them next year with Hearts. But the problem is with your Motherwells and Inverness is that you have a couple of good years and you're a selling club then. The big boys come knocking, your best players go, you've got to start again. And we did lose a few players, but even so, that team was good enough to stay up. There is that. But as I say, look back now, and that was like, again, it was another tough time really, from the highs that we had.
I mean, before you left Inverness, you spoke about wanting to move into coaching and what have you, and then left the club. So what was the kind of, not fallout as such, but what changed things so quickly?
I suppose I started the year before. I'd signed a 1-year deal with an option for the year after, so I needed to play 20 games to trigger that option. And I'd done the 20 games, so off we went on holiday, knowing that I was fine. I had another year to plan for whatever I'm going to do afterwards. By this time, I'm well into me coaching and helping out with the youth teams and stuff. And I get a phone call on holiday, new manager, John Robertson, says you're free to leave and like your contract's up at Christmas. And so, your contract's up at Christmas. So again, cut a long story short, the club had gone through the wording of my contract to get me out of the contract because it said 20 games in the what was it? I can't even remember the wording of the contract, but anyway, they went through the fine-tooth comb. And I thought it was very, very poor from them. It was backstabbing, and I didn't like it. And he said, you can leave now or you can leave at Christmas, but either way, you'll be going. And I'm like, right, okay, sound. Went back to pre-season, nothing much was coming up. So you've got to remember, by this time, I'm 32 and I've got my kids up there, my wife up there. So wherever I go, I need to move lock, stock and barrel. And so we were just pondering what to do. So we had to put things in motion then. We had a house down south here, the one I'm in now, and it was rented out. And so we said, well, why don't we just move down south, either in the summer or in January, and I'll try and get a club then. So we put things in motion then, ready to move down south and knowing I'll be moving in January no matter what. If something came before, then great. If not and did, then it's January no matter what. And then as things were going on, I was still training, and I got in my head that I wanted to get back in the team, force my way back into the team, and force the club to offer me a new contract to keep me there. And that's just what happened. So I got back in the team, was playing well, and reluctantly John Robinson said, here's another, I think it was like 3 or 4 months on top of the contract I already had. It took me to May. So 5 months. And it was a big pay cut as well. But it was a contract offer. And I said, no. I said, no, I'm not staying. I'm not doing that. I'm going on my terms. This is how I'm going to go. I'm not, and I'd made my mind up that I was going to go on my terms. And that was the reason why I left in the January. And I went with nothing. I didn't have anything down south. It was a massive, massive gamble. And I was ringing everyone. And luckily I was able to play for Wrexham. And start sort of weaning my way off professional football. And when I left Wrexham, But I knew I had to leave Inverness at some point, and if I was going to leave, then I wanted it to be on my terms, and that's why I finished it on my terms, not by, with John Robertson saying, right, see you later, pushing me out the door sort of thing, which he did. But I did have an option to stay, if you like. So in my head, it was on my terms. It was a bit of an ego thing, I suppose. I didn't want to stay there past me welcome. I didn't want to stay there, and the fans are thinking, right, he's past it now. Do you know what I mean? Like, yeah, he's been a good servant for us, but he's old now and he's past it. Let's get someone else in. I didn't want that to happen either, because I'd had such a good rapport with them and I had such good respect for them. So I didn't want that to happen, and that's another reason why I left as well when it did.
That must be disappointing for you, though. Obviously, you've done so much for the club and you've achieved so much, and then to sort of, even though I think with the fans you're still okay and stuff, sort of behind the scenes, sort of almost feeling like you're being shuffled out the door. Like, do you feel like you maybe earned a bit more respect from the club than that?
It was the way they did it more than anything. It was the underhandedness of the way they did it and the way they looked at my contract. And it was a big lesson for me to look at every single word in a contract. Huge lesson for me. And I'll never do that again. So it was the underhandedness of the way it was done. And like, looking back now, I probably think it was the right idea for John Robertson to do that. Although I would argue I had 2 years of decent football left in me at that age. He had to get rid of me, really, at some point, because I was an aging player, and it made sense to. And I know that now, looking back, it was just the underhandedness way that I felt it was done, and the lack of respect that I felt from it. So that was the hard pill to swallow. I've been released, 5 or 6 times in my career and been out of work and stuff like that. So it wasn't so much that, because managers come in and like you or don't like you. It's simple as that. And John Robinson came in and didn't like what he saw, so that's fine. I can take that, no problem. But don't like do it underhandedly. I felt that was really poor, and that's why I'd made my mind up. Do you know what? No, I've had enough. Like, this has gone on long enough now. So time for something new, and that's what I did.
When you moved to sort of Wrexham, did you sort of know then that Wrexham were they full time when you were down there? Wrexham,
yeah, it's a big club, Wrexham.
Yeah. Did you sort of know, though, after obviously your agent and the Wrexham are obviously in non-league, that after you sort of left them that you would sort of be looking to sort of part-time football?
No, again, I thought I had another year left in me. I was 33. And I was thinking, get to 34 or 35, great professional football, because I was fit. And I knew I was fit because I went to Fylde again, another non-league team, but there was a bleep test in pre-season, and I won the bleep test, so I knew I was fit. But no offers came, so I thought it was I had another year. Basically, all that happened was my transition from professional football happened a year sooner, and I feel now that I'm a year further ahead. Do you know what I mean? You do get to a point in your career where like you're just treading water now. I'm not going anywhere. I'm doing it, just sort of carrying on, paying the bills and staying in the game. And I knew I wanted to explore other things and do other things, which I've been trying to do. I mean, thinking naively that a decent career behind me would get me a good coaching role, like, didn't materialise, and that was like, wow, okay. I've applied for 65, 70 jobs or something stupid, ridiculous. And then fell into the one I've got now. So it's funny how life works out. And so yeah, the last few years have been like a mad roller coaster. Been going like through transition from playing professional football to normal working life, and then playing part time has sort of weaned me off it a little bit, and that served a massive purpose in terms of that. And you don't realise what playing football every single day does. You think retirement, if someone says to me like 5 years ago, when you find, and you're training, you're grafting all the time, retirement, you think, oh great, I can do what I want, eat what I want, drink what I want. But that only lasts about a week, and then you're bored of that. You know what I mean? You want the structure again, you want the endorphins again. So playing part-time has really been, I'll recommend it to lads who are coming away from the game, to just wean you off the drug a little bit,
Tier 7 that you're playing at now with Warrington Town, how are you finding the quality of that?
It's the quality. There's still good quality down there. Funnily enough, I'm able, because I can read the game a lot easier, which is great because I'm not training. I'm nowhere near as fit as I was or fast. And the thing for me that I found hardest doing it, I've loved it. It's been great for many reasons. But it's an ego thing. So you play against a player and you think a year ago, mate, like you wouldn't have got a kick, but now he's taking a ball past you, and being able to deal with that is like a kick in the teeth, and it's an ego, but you've got to deal with it. You know what I mean? It's like you're getting older, so what? Like, but it's great. I love it. Afterwards, both teams go in the clubhouse and have a pint together, and we have fish and chips or something, or sausage and chips. And that was never happened. The away team would get off as soon as they finished the game. Whereas we'll go together and have a pint and talk about like the scrap that happened at half time. You know what I mean? So it's been great that way, and I've loved it. And I've got to know a few cracking people as well.
Part-time football is just completely different nowadays to full-time football. Like, there was a point in time perhaps where they weren't so close. Like, they were quite connected, obviously not fully, but now it's a completely different world. Like between like your Warrington and then like Liverpool, it's like they're so connected. It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, you've got boys coming off 12-hour shifts, like, and then asking them to play a game of footy. You know what I mean? It's a tough shift, and like the lads who've done it I know lads at Warrington who've done it all their lives, worked all their lives and played football on top. And I don't know how they've done it. I really don't, because it's tough. You're going to work and then training twice a week and then playing on a Saturday, because it's not far off full time at times when you're playing Saturday, Tuesday, and then getting up the next day to get to work. It takes its toll. It's tough. So fair play to them who've done it. Then for them 10, 15 years.
Yeah, looks like you're in coaching just now. How are you finding that role? Whereabouts are you doing it?
So I'm down at a private school, Ellesmere, big Hogwarts place it is. And again, I fell into that. I was just applying for everything that came up, and looking for a coach at this football academy down in Ellesmere, and apply for it. Guy rang me, do you want to come down, do a guest session and speak to all the students? Brilliant, yeah. And it snowballed from there then. And then they offered me the contract to work for them, and then a full-time role came from it. And so I run a football academy. Students from all over the world come to this country to have the punt at being a professional footballer, but also at the same time get a really good education at a good school. So it's been really good. You know what I mean? Again, we train every day, we play games, we do video analysis and stuff, and I'm in charge of the whole shebang, really. I've had free roll from it. So I've learned so much without being under any microscope whatsoever. And, there's two sites. I'm up in Manchester sometimes and down in Ellesmere, so it's a busy role. And, you sort of fall into these things. And that's been great. And the more you do it and, you find out what you're good at, what you're not good at, and it's been really good.
Football is just sort of like that, isn't it? Even in our industry, James, it's just you can have all the talent in the world, you can have all the resources, but you need a big, massive slice of luck somewhere in there, or just something to fall into place. Because that, then I don't think you really get anywhere. There's a lot of people with a lot of talent, but they don't get that bit of luck that perhaps some others do.
That's right. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Like right place, right time sometimes, and someone to take you somewhere or recommend you somewhere. You've got to keep plugging away. Do you know what I mean? And that's all I'm doing is keeping plugging away. And I believe the harder you work, the luckier you get, and that was what I did in my career. If anyone ever came to take my place, they were then my enemy, and I was going to work harder than them every single day. And eventually, I got my place back. And that's how I look at the work in life as well. So, harder you work, the luckier you get, yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
What does the future hold now? Do you have your sights set on that kind of return to club coaching, or are you happy where you are?
Yeah, I'd love to get back to football, professional football anyway. Club coaching, whatever that might be, I'd love to, yeah. Say I've got ideas myself, how I do things, I'll run things, and massively passionate about developing people as well. So with them mixed together, I think I'll make a good manager.
Well, maybe you can get your old pal Stephen Gerrard to give you a wee call.
Be my assistant.
By the way, it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. I've got a few closing questions, usually ones that will put you on the spot. Favourite moment in your career?
Favourite moment in my career? Skinning a corner winner against Celtic. In the Scottish Cup semi-final, yeah.
I mean, that game, for me at least, I don't know because perhaps I'm a bit younger, but I remember that game a lot more than I do the final, just because obviously of all the circumstances around it. Obviously, your goal in extra time, and then obviously the ghost goal. Obviously, Celtic thought they should have had one in the net, was ruled out. It was just a very memorable semi-final there.
Aye, it was brilliant, yeah. It was just everything about that whole time. It wasn't just that game, it was the whole time, like we were talking about before, that we were involved with Inverness. That's why it stands out so much. Is that, and obviously my Liverpool debut down at White Hart Lane. If I had to pick, I can't really pick between the two, but because that was such a shot of emotion and a big high, I'm picking the Inverness one. But me, Liverpool debut was White Hart Lane, 40,000 Tottenham fans. That was brilliant. I enjoyed that. I was absolutely crap for myself.
I can imagine. Big Harry Redknapp as well, probably still on the sidelines staring you down.
I think he was, yeah. I think he was, yeah.
Favourite player you played with?
Again, got to be Gerrard because I wasn't played with him for that long, but trained and played in a couple of games with him to realise that the man's just an absolute, phenomenon. Yeah.
And advice for any young players sort of breaking through, what would be David Raven's top tips?
Advice for a young player breaking through? So my advice would be that you have got to be the best every day. You've got to work harder than everybody else every day because it's so competitive. And that's the only way you're going to get to have a professional football career. Be the best every single day. And if you're not the best, then you work harder to be the best the next day and work harder again and harder again. And that's all I can really, really say to young lads. I get asked that quite a lot actually, and especially from the lads in the school, and they get this thing in their head about professional football. And I'm like, it's not reality, mate. It's not reality. You've got to leave it out on a training pitch every single day. You have to, because otherwise you'll just get left behind. So that'll be my piece of advice.
James, you get anything to add?
No, I'm good with that.
David, have you get anything to plug, anything you wish to promote?
No, nothing to promote from me. Nah.
David, thanks very much for your time. Found it really interesting. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Obviously, find us on Podbean and iTunes. Until next time, take it easy.
Thanks a lot. Cheers, guys.
Brilliant. I've just clamped. That's just so I know where to cut it at the end.
Sounds.
Brilliant. David, really appreciate that.
Cheers, fellas. Enjoyed that. It was good.